guys, HK with the 419 Irregulars. Today we're going to be doing a loadout vid. So I'll be showing you the gear that you will see in my videos. First and foremost, going to go over some of the soft goods that I use on a game-to-game basis. That's better. Before we get into exactly what all my different soft gear is, just kind of, as you can see, I don't wear a vest. I don't usually wear a chest rig, a carrier, or anything like that. I do have some stuff I'll occasionally use for extra capacity or kind of mission specific stuff, but I tend to run a battle belt kind of setup. You're seeing it a lot more in mag-fed paintball these days. I like it because all my weight is distributed on my hips, allows me to be really fast, allows me to move really quickly, and still keeps everything in an easily reachable area. On my team, I'm kind of our go-to raider. So my job is to move as quickly as possible, get up in the opposing team's face, and just have a lot of violence of action. Right now, I got a pair of Keen brand work shoes on. They're steel-tipped, nice and heavy-duty, take a lot of punishment. The bottom, as you can see, is actually fairly treaded. Not quite cleats, but pretty darn close, so that's good. Moving on the way up, I got a set of 888 brand skating knee pads. And also you'll see on my elbows when we get up there, 888 brand skate elbow pads. They're really nice, got them really cheap, and they work really well. Because they've got a nice flat plate on them, they're designed to slide, so for sliding on the ground, sliding into a bunker, they're really nice. Or if I can get down in a three-point stance where I got both my knees on the ground and one of my elbows, I can actually slide very effectively on that elbow. Moving on up from there, got a pair of Schmidt brand work pants. A lot of people, they buy BD, all kinds of different BDUs. My experience, unless you really drop a lot of money for your BDUs, they're not going to be able to take a lot of wear and tear. They'll maybe last you 4 or 5 games. Work pants, work clothes, on the other hand, they're made to take punishment, and they're not really that expensive. I think I paid 20 bucks for these pants. You pay 20 bucks for a pair of BDU pants, they're going to be shot real quick. Up from there, I have a Condor Universal holster. On this side, on my other side, I've got a Condor brand dual M4 mag carrier. Doubles for a lot of different things. I'll kind of talk about that in a little bit more detail later. Dump pouch on my back right hip and another pouch on my back left. I believe it's just kind of a generic Amazon sort of brand pouch. It's really great. It does a lot of different things. I can put magazines in there. I can fit 5 mil-sig mags in there or 6 TMC mags. Large capacity. Can put my cell phone in there, can put any sort of event-specific tags in it that I want. Pouch on the side fits a 40mm shell very nicely. Wallet, keys, can fit extra batteries in the top pouch here. It's just a great way to store everything, and that way I don't have to leave something behind and worry about it getting stolen. Moving on up, just got our general kind of uniform team shirt that we designed. It's just a shirt that I got out of a clothing catalog, and my family does some embroidery, so got our team and got my call sign. I went and glued on some patch bases, so we got that. On up from there, as you can see, got some suspenders attached to my belt. It's really nice. Because I run this battle belt style setup, everything tends to get pretty heavy, and as a result, pants start sliding down and I'm showing plumber's crack by halfway through the event. Not the best look. Last couple things, just a general scarf. You can get all kinds of different mesh sand scarves on eBay, Amazon for 10 bucks. I think I got this. It's actually just a piece of camouflage netting at a surplus store. Yeah, it was an army surplus place. They actually had it laying around as decoration. I asked how much, and pretty sure I picked this up for $1 and turned it into a scarf. Last thing I got is my mechanics gloves. Really recommend these. They are the Mechanics Impact lines. I have the framer design, so it's got the fingers cut off here. It's really nice. Doesn't get in the way when you're trying to manipulate a trigger, magazine release, anything like that. And it's got this nice padding on the back. Padding is very bouncy. Thing with paintball, you don't necessarily want hard protective gear. Hard stuff just makes it easier for a paintball to break on that surface. You need something that's kind of soft, rubbery, and bouncy. I've been shot in the hands, back of the hands quite a few times. Very rarely do I get breaks on the back of my hands because I got this nice, soft, rubbery, bouncy material. Some other gear that I use on the field, you'll see from time to time. Goggles that I use, highly recommend, guys, always get yourself a good pair of goggles. If you can, try and see if somebody will let you borrow theirs. Everybody's face is shaped kind of different, so what necessarily works for you might not work that great for somebody else. To wear glasses when you play, maybe try and find what somebody else that plays with glasses recommends. This is the newest set of goggles that I picked up. This is the Bunker King CMDs. I think that's supposed to be Command or something like that. I really like these for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, the lower half is pretty soft. It's nice and squishy. So when I'm playing MagFed, I need to get a good cheek weld as if it's more like a real rifle. So having a softer lower face part lets me get on top of my rifle and get down my sights like I need to. It also, because it flexes, if a paintball is more of a graze, it's more likely to deflect instead of breaking. There's, as you can see, a lot of holes and a lot of breathability in kind of the grill area. That does a couple of things. It keeps the moisture away from you because when you're breathing out, it's not getting trapped and coming up into your lenses. And also, it helps to not muffle your voice as much. You'll kind of see it in our videos. Watch our triple threat video. You can kind of notice when my teammates Overwatch or Weld are talking, you can hear that their voices are kind of muffled by their masks. When you're out on the field, that is especially amplified because a lot of goggle systems also will muffle your hearing a bit because it's trying to protect your ears. When you listen to my clips, it almost doesn't even sound like I'm wearing a mask when I've got this on. My voice projects very effectively, it doesn't muffle my voice, and it doesn't cause a lot of echo up into my own ears. Speaking of the ears, the CMDs also sit very far away from my ear. They don't really squish my ears a whole lot, and the way that the mask is designed, it doesn't muffle your hearing as much. It doesn't press to the side of your head, and it doesn't cover your ears, and there's some nice channels where sound can travel into your ears. What all this means is that you can communicate very effectively with your teammates when you're wearing these goggles. That's something that's kind of unique with paintball goggle systems. As far as the lens, I believe it uses the Virtue VO lens, very proven double pane thermal system. I've just got the stock reflective golds that came with the mask when I ordered it. Visors aren't really a big deal to me. I don't feel like it affects my vision if you've got the sunlight coming down. Some people swear that it does, but the Bunker King CMDs have this nice little micro visor, just enough that it will block sunlight, but not so much that it causes a big target or prevents you from doing anything, getting up close on your paintball marker like you need to. Custom goggle strap that I had done up. This is a team tag from the Team Tags Facebook page. Check them out. I got a blue and a red of the mask tags and 2 blue and 2 red armbands for, it was like 45 bucks. Just a little bit of a vanity item so people know who I am on the field, and it makes it nice and easy for your teammates to spot your color so you don't get friendly fired as much. At least that's the theory. It doesn't always play out like that. Over on the side, I've got my camera mount. I run a Contour, I think it's a Plus. I honestly don't even know. I got it secondhand from somebody else. It's a really nice camera. Not quite as good as some of the modern GoPros. I do have an older model. We'll talk more about cameras in another video, but this mount just goes right onto my goggle strap. Gives me a nice side profile view, which I particularly like. And it's very stable for what it attaches to. Besides that, I also have a set of Armadillo dreads. I like them because, as I kind of talked about with my gloves, you don't really want hard protective equipment in paintball. With paintball, just having it hit you doesn't necessarily mean that you're out. Usually the rule is paintball has to hit, it has to break on you, and it has to leave a mark. So what you want for protective gear is something soft and squishy. The Armadillo dreads are absolutely amazing when it comes to that. I can't even count how many times that I've walked off the field after a game, I shake my head, and whole unbroken paintballs will drop out. Actually, one of my favorite stories, I was at an event, some guy shot a first strike round at me, and the first strike got caught in my dreads. I paused, because I was thinking, oh shoot, let me check, see if it broke. Pulled the whole first strike round out of my dreads, intact. Very fun moment. That's really it for some of my worn gear. Some other things you might see me wearing from time to time. I do have a proper brand BDU shirt for when I don't feel like rocking my team shirt, if I need something that's a little bit warmer. Picked it up on Amazon, 25 bucks. They have all kinds of different colors and whatnot. Doesn't really wash very effectively. As you can see, it's got a lot of old stains that I can't get out of it. But as far as shirts go, it's not too bad. Something else I'm going to be trying to work into my equipment at larger events. This is an old, I believe it's a Chinese military harness that I picked up at a paintball shop, again for 20 bucks. Pouches right here are great for TIPX magazines or small 30 round tac cap pods. On the side here, these are designed for, I believe they were designed for holding old stick grenades, but they work really well for putting all kinds of other stuff, barrel swabs, anything that it's more like a long rod is going to fit in here very nicely. So we're going to go through some of the hard goods that I use in my kit, stuff that stacks up bodies. Close as it gets, I carry a rubber training knife on my kit. Really, it's not necessary. A barrel tag or physically touching somebody will get you an elimination. But there is something slightly intimidating about a guy coming around the corner with what may or may not be a knife and trying to shove it into your face in the middle of a paintball match. I've actually had a couple of refs. Shout out to James. He got a little bit scared when I rounded the corner on a renter with this. He thought it was real and I might actually shank the poor bastard. Lots of laughs were had afterwards. Moving on up, I've started carrying a rubber hatchet with me. Again, really not necessary at all. I just find it fun. It is a bit of intimidation. Again, you know, when you pull this up out of your kit, some people start thinking twice about whether or not they want to get close with you. It does have a bit more reach than the training knife, where I could, you know, come around, tap somebody, reach around the corner and get them. But it's mostly for style points. Another piece of special equipment, sometimes carry on my kit. There's a couple different brands that make these. Valken makes them. They're called Thunder V grenades. There's another brand, I've seen them on e-bike, they're Hakotsu. They make the Thunder Bs, not Vs, Thunder Bs. Basically the same thing, same concept. It's a core inside of a plastic shell. The way that it works is when you pull the pin, the spoon flips out of the way, there's a little firing lever here, pushes a pin, hits the top of a 12-gram CO2 cartridge, punctures the CO2 cartridge, starts filling the plastic chamber up with gas, and once the chamber fills up too much, it explodes. They can be pretty damn loud, so it works really well as a distraction kind of device. That's what it's actually marketed as. If it goes off in the room that you are in, it kind of can simulate a flashbang grenade. I will say personally, I have had one of these go off in my hand once. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. It was while I was sitting in my small studio apartment. My ears were ringing for a solid 2 minutes, and I still have a bruise on the back of 2 of my fingers under the fingernail. I don't understand how the grenade going off in your hand bruises the back of your finger. The palm of my hand was also bruised. Again, 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Don't let it happen to you. Couple little tips with the thunder grenades, whether you know whatever brand you get. I would recommend the Hakotsu brand. They are cheaper. I feel that the core is better designed. They're more durable. The spoon is made out of metal. The Valken ones, the spoon is currently made out of plastic. Might not be the case with their older ones, but the newer ones that they are selling, the spoon is made of plastic. It can get broken. But anyway, the Hakotsu brand ones, the plastic around the neck up here is thicker. It's more durable. The spoon is made out of metal. And it's also cheaper in addition to being better designed. When you use these, I've used all kinds of 12-gram cartridges. I would recommend using the Umarex brand 12-gram cartridges. People will tell you a 12-gram cartridge is a 12-gram cartridge. The Umarex ones are actually, it's almost imperceptible, but they are slightly longer, the cartridges. What that means is that when the hammer comes down and the pin punctures it, it's going to get a deeper, more solid puncture on the Umarex cartridge, which is going to make it more likely to actually fill up the plastic chamber and detonate the grenade. It also makes it a little bit louder because it's filling up faster. I can say since I switched to using the Umarex cartridges, every single time I throw one of these, it detonates. Usually within 3 seconds. I've used other ones, you know, Crossman cartridges, Daisies, whatever. Sometimes they don't go off, or I've had them where I watched it for a solid 10 seconds with the shells slowly expanding before it went off. In the middle of a paintball game, you need them to be going off pretty quickly, and you need them to be making as much noise as possible. Moral of the story, get the Hatsoku brand ones off of Evike if you order them, and use the Umarex 12-gram cartridge. Makes a lot of damn noise, scares the piss out of people. You'll hear them in some of our videos. Moving on up, my go-to sidearm. I've actually been playing this winter pistol only, using just this. This is the Tipman TIPX. Mine is kind of modified. As you can see here, normally these come with a aluminum block that says TIPX on the side. I took the aluminum block out and I dremeled out the front here so that I could fit a hammerhead rifled barrel in. It's a 6-inch rifled barrel, very accurate, very precise, especially for how short it is. The field that I go to, they have an indoor field for winter play. It's about 80 feet from end to end. I've had multiple eliminations corner to corner on the field just using one shot, because just being able to line it up and with how accurate the 6-inch hammerhead barrel is. Besides that, everything else is pretty much stock. You can get a remote line attachment. Some of our other members will talk about that. They have done that modification. Personally, I despise remote lines for a number of reasons, so I just don't use them. I stick to 12-gram cartridges only. I've got my pressure and velocity adjusted, so it runs a little bit lower. I'm typically shooting in the 220 to 240 range, but what that means is that on a 12-gram cartridge, I can get through all 4 of my 7-round mags, about 28 shots on full power. 7-round capacity, fits into just about any sort of pistol mag pouch that you can get. They do make longer ones. 12 round True Feeds and Zeta Mags. Again, some of my teammates will talk about them. I don't really use them because I use this pretty much exclusively as a sidearm. If you do wind up using a TIPX as a primary though, you might want to look into those magazine options. Next item up on the list is the Milsig M17. Mine has been tricked out a fair deal. On it, I have the SMG style shroud and the HCS stock hybrid collapsible hybrid combat. People use it interchangeably, and a slightly raised top rail that goes with the SMG style shroud. This is an older model of the M17. I believe this is the M17 CQC. Was the name when they released it. Really, there's not a whole lot of difference between this and the newer styles of the M17. The newer styles, the body is all one piece, including this rail. I've got a 6-inch marksman barrel you can get off of Milsig. Nice little muzzle brake on here. I like it because it looks aggressive, but really it doesn't do anything performance-wise, and actually I think it increases the number of barrel breaks that I have, especially with underboard paint. It tends to bounce around a little bit, and it can get snagged on some of these sharp edges. But it looks cool as hell, so I keep it on there. Grip that I have here is a hand stop. Back of my hand right on there. Front of my hand is stopped by this nice little notch here, and you can shoulder it very nicely. Feels very comfortable. You can keep it nice and tight to your body. Very effective close quarters. Got a couple rail risers on here. A Tasco Pro Point Red Dot. I don't even know if you can still buy these things. I dug it up, pretty sure out of a yard sale box that we had sitting around the house. Besides that, I also have a metal magwell that I took off of another Milsig that I had, Paradigm Pro Elite. Standard M17 magwell that they've got now is an ambidextrous polymer one. There are some nice things about it. First and foremost, it is ambidextrous, so it makes reloading left or right-handed very easy. You know, with this, I could just hit the button when I'm shooting right-handed and the magazine will release. But if I'm shooting lefty, it can be a bit of a project to hit that magazine release. The advantage that the metal magwell has, though, is because it doesn't have as much friction with the magazine. I can do a nice little twist and the magazine will come out. Usually it's a little bit more graceful. If you guys don't know about the M17, it's a very reasonably priced marker. Very reliable, very easy to clean, very easy to take care of. Really, there's only 2 O-rings on it that can possibly have something break down. All you really need to do is feed it oil every once in a while. If you ever do need to do any maintenance, I do have the quick detach sling mount on here, which allows me to rip the guts out a little bit faster, but you can get the whole maintenance process for the M17 down to under 2 minutes if you know what you're doing and if you practice with it. Magazines that I use are the M5 hybrid magazines that Milsig has, originally released for the M5 series of markers. They normally, when you order them from Milsig, will come with these funky looking collars on them. If you go on their website, you'll see what I'm talking about. But they can be converted to take the standard first strike collar, as you can see, and then you can use them in any sort of M series marker. I've found that these magazines are the most consistent feeding. I almost never have any chops in the breech with them. If I do, it's because I'll take everything apart later and it turns out that I had a round break inside the magazine, which that's just caused by crappy paint. That has nothing to do with the reliability of the marker. I don't have any other style Milsig mags to compare them to, but trust me on this, any of you guys that own Milsigs, you'll know what I'm talking about. The screws that hold the other style of magazines together, they go right into a plastic channel, which unfortunately can get stripped out fairly easily, especially if you over tighten your mags. The nice thing about the M5 series of magazines is it's a bolt that goes into a nut right here. So there's no channels no plastic channels to strip out. They're much easier to tear apart in maintenance than the older style of magazines. Much more consistent feeding. Really, guys, if you use a mil-sig and you're concerned about round ball and first strike capability, get the M5 hybrid mags. Last but not least, as we move out to slightly longer ranges, some guys might laugh at me for saying this, but this is my mid to mid long range workhorse, and it is the Tippmann TMC. A lot of things that people will mock about the TMC, myself included. It is a fairly limited marker as far as customization, aftermarket upgrades, all kinds of stuff like that. It is round ball only unless you contact some of these guys that can do the different sorts, that'll do different sorts of milling and other stuff to it to convert it to first strike capable. If you do convert it to first strike capable, you also have to use T15 mags with it, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. The standard TMC mag is, they say they're 19 round. Really, you should only load it to 18. If you load to get that 19th one in there, it really increases the risk of jamming. Only capable of semi-automatic fire. Most mag-fed markers out on the market right now will have some sort of upgrade, or they will come with full auto capability, like the mil-sig M17 comes with full auto out of the box. Just takes a little bit of adjustment. It's a standard blowback marker. Really, it's a Tippmann 98 stuffed inside a body that lets it shoot magazines. Can be converted to hopper fed, but let's be real, guys. You're buying a mag fed marker, you're not looking to slap a hopper on it. If you were, you would have just grabbed a hopper fed style marker. The shroud mounting system is admittedly kind of janky. It really only attaches through this one screw down here. Comes stock setup. It uses 98 threads. There's really not a whole lot of barrels that use that system, and it's kind of hard to get hammerhead fins in 98 anymore. You can find them from time to time, but sometimes you gotta wait for different places to get them in stock. Doesn't come with the air in stock option out the box. It comes with a bottom feed ASA. Converting it to the tank in stock is a fairly simple process, but it's an aftermarket thing, so there is going to be some tool time on your part, and you have to take the entire marker apart, which everybody will tell you the whole reason that they buy a TMC is because you really never have to take it apart. The reason that it's nice that you never have to take it apart is because it is an absolute bitch to take apart and put back together properly. There's about 15 things that can go wrong, and even if you do all 15 of those things right, somehow it still doesn't go back together right the first time. That's all the bad things about the TMC. Let's talk about the good things. It's a 98 stuffed inside a mag-fed body. There's some downsides to that. It's a standard blowback marker, not really the best as far as air efficiency, and not super consistent with the output, which can affect your accuracy. That being said, it's a Tippmann 98 in a mag-fed body. 9.9 times out of 10, you yank this out of your bag, it's going to work 100% as effectively as it should. It will shoot through brakes. It will be almost completely jammed up. It can be wet. It can be jammed up with dust. It's a Tippmann 98. It is going to work through just about everything. Some people look at the round ball only as a negative. For me, I very rarely, I think I've used first strikes at 1 or 2 events. I play up close and personal. I don't need first strikes. I need it to consistently shoot round ball every single time. And it does that very effectively. The magazines, as kind of mentioned, if you load them up to that 19 round capacity, they can be prone to jamming. If you put 18 in, you're going to be just fine, and quite frankly, you won't miss that one ball. Something that is nice about this, that not a lot of mag-fed markers, actually, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I don't think there's really any other mag-fed markers that out the box have a drop-free mag well. I think the T15s are sort of there, where if you give it a little twist, it'll drop on some of them will drop free. But the way the TMC mags are designed, pretty much whatever angle you hit the release at, it's dropping out nice and easy. That's because when it's the way the detent system is set up, I'll see if I can show you guys here. The detent is actually spring-loaded and it's part of the magazine. So when the magazine is in the marker, that spring is under pressure to pull the detent back. What that means is when you hit the magazine release, that spring for the detent is pushing the magazine out of the mag well. As far as I know, that's not really the design for any other style of magazines, and it's very nice because if you need to rapidly reload, which, come on guys, we're shooting 18, 19, 20 rounds at a time and we got to reload, you got to be on that stuff real quick. It's nice when it just drops out free and you can slam another one home. TMC mags also come with this kind of mock Raptor clip built into them, which means that it's really easy to snake your finger in, grab a hold of your magazine, ram it home. As far as other upgrades that I've got on this, I have a TacFire red dot sight with a magnifier. The magnifier is a advanced optics brand. Really wouldn't recommend it. It really only works in well-lit conditions. I don't need it a whole lot. The eye relief is not great on it unless you're in basically the perfect spot. You can't see anything. Once you get in that spot though, it does work fairly effectively, but again, it's paintball. We're not taking super long shots, especially with this where it's round ball only. The red dot though is very effective. I've got mine zeroed to about 65, 70 feet. It's nice to know that when I bring it up, I can let a double tap loose and it's most likely going to hit my target. Other things that I've got on here, 14-inch hammerhead barrel, I believe it's 14-inch, with the fin, Milsig Mach suppressor, and just a stream light that I picked up at Gander Mountain for 20 bucks. Nice because it's got the flashlight feature and with a quick little press has a strobe function for nighttime games or games in dark areas. It's fun to come around the corner and shove a strobe light in somebody's face. Discombobulates them very well. There's other little tricks you can do with strobe lights. Maybe we'll do a tips vid at some point. Besides that, I have the Hera CQR grip on it. When I looked at this thing online, I thought it was the jankiest piece of plastic shit to ever cross the interwebs. However, I've actually come to like it more than any other grip I've run into for a few reasons. I don't really like standard foregrips. I don't find them to be comfortable. I don't really feel that they increase the ergonomics of my weapon system at all. I used to run 40mm launchers as my grip because I don't mind having the inline standard grip. I just need it a little bit lower. The nice thing about the Hera CQR grip is that you can actually do just about any sort of style of grip that every other aftermarket grip has on the market just by changing your hand position a little bit. So, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can use it as a standard foregrip just by holding it right here. You can do the C-clamp grip, sort of hand stop, that's becoming really popular. You see a lot of guys with shoulder injuries will do this because it hurts for them to hold it down for long periods of time. So the C-clamp grip works well for them. You can do the Magwell style grip right here, the style of grip that I use. It's kind of more of a potato grip, where I'm just looking for something to kind of hold my palm on a little bit lower. Lets me get a very good grip. And that's how I use it. I've got the 2-point sling on there. Nice thing about this, just show you real quick. I do under over style, so shooting. I need to transition to my sidearm real quick. It's drop and go. So that's it for all of the gear that I use. You'll see my stuff featured throughout videos. If I add any other pieces of equipment to my loadout, we'll do some individual reviews on the gear at that point. That's all I got.